Welcome to the Mindfulness Times News Briefing. If a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, of what then is an empty desk a sign? This quote, attributed to Einstein in a New York Times article, suggests that an empty desk is a sign of an empty mind, inferring that this is an inferior to a cluttered mind. But isn't having an empty desk and mind something that would benefit companies? In today's episode, we're going to explore how mindfulness interacts with businesses. Indeed, we're discussing something intriguing. Is there a significant difference in performance between listed companies of the S&P500 that have introduced a mindfulness program and those that have not? Joining me are our expert, Thomas, literature reviewer, Tom, our Code Studio expert, and Axel,
Hello.
data analyst. They will guide us through their study. Let's dive in. Imagine if a mindfulness program could stabilize stock prices or even improve performance. Sounds promising, right? But does the data back it up? That's what Tom, Axel, and Thomas were set to investigate.
So, the big hypothesis is this. With companies increasingly adopting mindfulness programs for employee well-being, we believe that implementing mindfulness programs positively impact the stock price performances of S&P 500 companies. And if it does, it could redefine how businesses view these programs.
And Thomas, can you give us a quick overview of what's already been done in this area?
Of course, most studies don't do the direct link between mindfulness and financial performances of a company. Most do the impact of mindfulness programs on employees' well-being, for example, on burnout, organizational behavior, engagement, and so on. Others do the impact of well-being on stock appreciation, but there has never been a real link between the two. And our sources will, of course, be available in the study.
Obviously, very interesting indeed. But then how did you guys conduct your research method?
So to assess our hypothesis, our team analyzed monthly stock price changes over the last 60 months. This includes 16 companies across 7 different industries, such as technology, financial services, healthcare, or even energy industry. We used our studio to run the analysis, and the first step was to clean the data, setting in all the binary variables, but also attributing numerical values to the categorical variables, such as the industry name, for example, and so on. We plotted the different graphs and used linear regression to analyze the correlation and assess any relationship between having a mindfulness program and the dependent variable, the stock price. So we also decided to do it in 2 ways. The first one was to run the analysis with the raw stock price, which was the absolute value we had at the beginning. And the second one was measuring the monthly variations of these stock prices between months, which was the relative value.
So studying both the stock price and then the variation of the stock price. Did you find any limitation to your study?
Yes, we found quite a few. First of all, it's important to note that our study is based on the link that has been made throughout the previous studies that mindfulness impacts individual performance and individual performance impacts the financial performance of a company. There's also no guarantee that employees will follow the mindfulness programs thoroughly. And industry standards might also be something of relevance. So yes, that is also to be taken into account.
Okay, so Axel, tell me, what did we find?
So here is a quick summary. First, the companies without a mindfulness program showed an average stock variation of about 2%, which was statistically significant. Then companies with a mindfulness program had a slight decrease of about 0.66% points, but this change wasn't statistically significant. The model used barely explained any variance in stock prices less than 0.1%, suggesting that other factors have a much bigger impact. In fact, the model overall fit was extremely poor, accounting for only 0.08% stock variation. Finally, the p-value was 0.4, well above the threshold of 5%, meaning the model itself wasn't statistically significant.
And so for our viewers that may not be statistics experts, what do these results tell us?
It tells that mindfulness program don't seems to have a big impact on stock price changes for S&P 500 companies. That doesn't mean that they don't bring other benefits, but when it comes to short-term stock performance, the effect looks minimal based on this data. But more research is needed to see if longer-term or industry-specific impacts.
So here's the bottom line. We did not manage to prove Einstein wrong today. And we learned that mindfulness programs may not move the needle on stock prices directly, but their broader organizational benefits shouldn't be overlooked. Thanks to Thomas, Tom, and Axel for sharing their insight and expertise.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to the Mindfulness Times news briefing. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights at the interaction of businesses and mindfulness. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.